Hello and welcome to QED Stata S21. Going to look at some simple descriptive statistics, starting with the summarize command. It's a handy one. Let's just copy that. Look at the summary statistics for per capita GNI. Type that into the command window here. I cleared the command window because I made some mistakes doing an earlier video, but there we go. So it gives you the output. So we can see the mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, all just with that one short command. So that's fine. Summarize, very often we just summarize to SU because it's so easy to misspell. It does recognize SU. So this is just another summarize command, but I've put two variables in just next to each other. So what we're doing here is comparing summary statistics for per capita GNI and per capita GDP. You can see that they're not the same. So as the question asks you in the book, is that weird? Is it surprising that they're not the same? Okay, the next thing is to show you that commas are really important. After the first part of some stata commands, or many commands, you can then put a comma and then add on some other options. And the comma's just there to tell stata, look, this is not another variable, this is like special options, but it has to be there, otherwise the thing will get confused. So for example, in S23 here, just going to get some more detail on summary statistics for per capita GNI, but it's not happy. It's going to give the red thing because I should have put a comma. So I try again, this time with the comma, just after, before you put the detail bit in, and now it does it for you. So you see here, it just gives you more information. It's got a lot of stuff. It gives you the smallest four values, so you can get an idea of what's happening at the bottom end. Biggest four values, gives you the percentiles, so that's the median, 50%. That's the lower quartile, upper quartile. Number 5% from the bottom, 1% from the bottom. It's a lot of different information about the spread of those numbers. It gives you the mean, standard deviation, variance. It also gives you skewness and kurtosis, which we'll explain what those mean during the course, but you can look them up. It just gives you more information about the shape of the distribution. So detail is a useful option. You should be able to answer these things here. By the way, the interquartile range, you have to do a very simple calculation from those numbers. So SU is really powerful, flexible command. Tabulate is another amazing one. It does loads of things. It's always shortened to tab, but you can type tabulate, but it's always shortened to tab. So just the basic flavoured version is just to tab and then a variable. A simple table of frequencies. And this is going to look at that categorical variable about income groups. Yeah, so just for doing tab, it gives you how many in each category, percentage in each category, and cumulative it like adds up. So 35% is how many is it in lower middle income or below. So 60% is how many is it if everything below the high income countries. Adds it up as it goes along. So just to get those statistics there, you could do that in Excel, but it really would be a pain. In Excel to do that, you have to know how to use pivot tables or how to use really complicated formulas. So it's much easier just to type that in. Okay, so far we've done a bit of analysis. Really one variable. The real power of data analysis is when you start seeing how different values in different variables are linked together. Because really, most people are in areas like international development and so on to work out how things are related, like how is policy related to poverty reduction or environmental conservation and so on. How do different things relate to each other? So we can start doing that here with the tab command by just putting two variables in. So I'm going to look at the group you're in for income category and the group you're in for this mammals being at risk category. And it'll just do us a nice table. So the first table is the rows, the second table is the columns. It just tabulates it. So you've got, what more can you say? It's just laying out that, you know, among the upper middle income categories, these are the mammal species category, threat categories, and for the high income it's these and so on. So you can quickly have a look at that and see, is there any relationship between income level and species threat level? Oh, I know what's this. Sorry. I should point out here, this looks a bit confusing because of this kind of living on its own down here, this bit. And it's because I'm trying to film and keep it on a slightly compressed. It's because I'm filming and keeping it in too small an area. So it really needs a bit more room like this. That might do it. Yeah, and if I repeat the command, it all comes out in one line. So if you find that your output is getting messy, the two things you can do is to just expand the screen like this, or if you go into the options and change the font size, make it smaller, then you'll find that things fit in more nicely. I'll have to condense this down to try and fit it on the screen, but that's why it looks a bit bad. I'm also aware that it's difficult to film stata because a lot of things come out looking quite small because there's such a lot of detail on the screen. But I hope that this, combined with the printed instructions, makes it possible to follow it okay. Okay, to add a final bit of detail to this, and I should have kept that wider screen. If you do this, actually what I'll do is I'll just type that. If you put comma, again, comma means here's some more options coming up, and the options I'm going to go for is row. So it's going to look a bit messy here, but you can see obviously what's happened when it's laid out properly here. Yeah, so it's giving you a breakdown of percentages across the rows like this. So you can see that among the lower income countries, like 34% are in this high risk category, whereas that goes down towards the high income categories. And there's 3.85 in the critical, but lower towards the higher income categories. So splitting up the percentage, it's helping you analyse it by looking at that percentage breakdown. Okay. So instead of row, you can try col, which gives you the percentages by column, or you can have both in there, which then gives you a breakdown of percentages by row and by column. Just put row space column. Okay, so the next section we'll start to look at some comparisons of subgroups, another essential part of data analysis. But for now, thanks for watching.